Imagine that the thing waking you up every morning isn't some modern phone alarm, but the cry of gas blaring from the speaker of a truck rolling down your street, or the hypnotic little song of a street vendor selling Oaxaca-style tamales. This is a chaotic kind of paradise, where every corner bursts with its own sound, its own smell, its own color. Today, in an ordinary neighborhood of Mexico City, you're born as the pride and joy of a big family and the whole block. Your name is Mateo. Welcome to Mexico. If you're born in Mexico, you never grow up on your own. The idea of a nuclear family barely exists here. A whole neighborhood, the Barrio, has a hand in raising you. While your mom and dad are at work, the one looking after you is your Abuela, your grandmother, whose kitchen always smells of fresh beans, rice, and corn tortillas. The guy at the corner store calls you by your name, and whenever you act up, the neighborhood aunties scold you before your mom even gets the chance. Your childhood plays out in the streets and the plazas, chasing pigeons and soaking up that wonderful neighborhood culture. You'll pour spicy chili and tangy chamoy sauce all over the fresh fruit you buy from street vendors. And on those hot days, you'll learn to drink an ice-cold agua fresca poured into a little plastic bag and sipped through a straw. But careful, you can't set that bag flat on the table, or your whole day is ruined. Your birthdays and religious holidays, the Las Posadas season, are one big feast. As you swing a stick at a colorful piñata with your eyes blindfolded, the whole neighborhood claps out a rhythm behind you. And while you're rolling around on the ground with the other kids, scrambling for the candy that spills out, you learn at a young age that the most real happiness you can have isn't expensive toys. It's this loud, noisy crowd. In the late afternoons in Mexico, you'll get together with your neighborhood friends for traditional trompo, spinning top contests, or you'll gather around a table to play that famous card game, La Lotería. Played with dried beans you place over the pictures on your card to match them up, this game teaches you the country's whole folklore: El Sol, the sun, La Sirena, the mermaid, and of course that lovable but eerie La Muerte, death itself. But the real passion out on the street is, without a doubt, football. In Mexico, football isn't just a sport. It's practically a shared language. You'll make goals out of 2 stones and chase a ball around for hours with the neighborhood kids. And on weekends, the whole family piles in front of the TV to cheer on your team. And on the days the national team plays, the entire country beats as one heart. The streets turn green with jerseys, and after every goal, the whole neighborhood roars at the exact same moment. You soak up this passion as a tiny kid, and you never let it go for the rest of your life. But life isn't all fun and games. When you turn 6, your school years begin, elementary and middle school fly by, and then you hit the first big stressful hurdle of your life, getting into high school. Now, Mexico has actually softened this system in recent years. These days, you get placed into most high schools based on your preferences and where you live, instead of one single make or break exam like before. But things change once the prep schools of UNAM, the National Autonomous University of Mexico, the country's most prestigious institution, enter the picture. Because everyone dreams of getting in there, and those schools still have their own tough entrance exam. So to grab one of those spots, you'll study for nights on end, sweat through practice tests, and put your childhood on the shelf a little earlier than you'd like. One of the most unforgettable, and sometimes funniest, moments in a Mexican guy's life is the 15th birthday of his sister or his closest girlfriend, the Quinceañera. This celebration marks a girl's step into adulthood in Mexico, and families are willing to take on years of debt for this one night. As Mateo, you're stuck being one of the chambelanes, the suited-up escorts, dancing behind your sister that night. You'll rehearse the waltz for weeks, sweat inside that tight little suit, but by the end of the night, when the mariachis play Las Mañanitas, you'll be right there crying along with the whole family. In your teenage years, your heart beats to a different tune for the first time. Maybe you fall for a girl from the neighborhood, maybe a friend from school. Being young in Mexico means hanging out with your friends in the plaza, listening to street music in the cool of the evening, crowding into somebody's house and laughing for hours. Most of your friendships are formed in those years, and they last a lifetime. Because here, friendship is just like family. It doesn't break easily. Another thing you'll never be able to give up your whole life in Mexico is the food. The country's cuisine is one of the richest in the world. In the mornings, you'll have chilaquiles smothered in spicy sauce, or a breakfast of beans and eggs. At lunch, you'll catch the smell of tacos al pastor cooking on the spit in some side street and find yourself standing right in front of the stand. On cold days, you'll have a big bowl of pozole, and on Sundays, the whole family gets together for meals that stretch on for hours. And of course, a warm corn tortilla is always there beside everything. You'll use it as a spoon to scoop up just about every dish. In Mexico, faith runs right through everyday life too. The vast majority of people come from a Catholic background, and the Virgin of Guadalupe, who holds a special place in this country, has become almost a national symbol. On the walls of homes, in the windows of buses, on a necklace around someone's neck. You'll run into her image everywhere. Every December, millions of people visit the basilica dedicated to her. Whether you're a believer or not, that image has been a part of your life since childhood. By the time you hit your 20s, you finish your studies at UNAM and step into working life. Making a living in Mexico Mexico isn't easy. Economic ups and downs, a minimum wage that never quite cuts it, and long hours can wear you down sometimes. Some people you know set off north toward America, chasing a better life. Others never leave the neighborhood they were born in. You're one of the ones who chooses an ordinary life. Maybe in an office, maybe in a shop, or maybe carrying on the family business. But the thing that keeps you standing is, once again, that unshakable family bond. After work, a couple of street tacos and a cold drink with your friends wash away the whole day's exhaustion. And one day, at one of those neighborhood festivals, your eyes meet Sophia's. The rhythm of your heart blends into the trumpets of the mariachi band. Before long, you get married in a loud, joyful wedding with hundreds of guests, where your aunts cook mole sauce chicken in giant pots and everyone dances till dawn. A few years later, when you hold your first child in your arms, you've fully taken on that sweet but heavy responsibility of life. And just like your grandmother once looked after you, now your mom, the new abuela, starts watching over your child. And so that beautiful cycle turns once again. The years flow by like a river, your hair goes gray, and the lines on your face deepen. Now you've become that sweet abuelo, the grandpa who teaches his grandkids how to spin a top in the street, who reads the cards for them in La Loteria, who gifts them their first footballs. For Mexicans, life is a cycle, and the most beautiful, most dignified part of that cycle is death. While the rest of the world fears death and mourns it, you look forward every early November to that magical Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, when the departed are believed to visit the living. On the ofrenda, the altar, set up in the best corner of your home, you place photos of your mother, father, and grandmother who have already passed on. You decorate it with orange cempasúchil flowers, and beside them you set their favorite dishes and pan de muerto, the bread of the dead. That night, the cemeteries glow with candlelight, and families gather around their loved ones and sing their favorite songs. You know that no one who's remembered ever truly dies. And one day, in your mid-80s, you pass from this world, leaving behind a loving spouse, children, grandchildren, and a whole neighborhood full of friends. They don't wail and sob after you. Instead, they sing your favorite songs and celebrate your life and the joyful memories you left behind. On the next Day of the Dead, your photo will be the one placed on that altar, and your grandkids will set your favorite taco down beside it and remember you with a smile. From then on, you'll go on living in the light of those candles, in the scent of those flowers, in the words of those songs. If you'd been born in Mexico, you'd have had a life where you ate the bitter and the sweet off the same plate. A life loud and colorful in every moment, but full of love. So do you think the high school exam stress in your country is heavier than Mexico's? And which country's life should we talk about in the next video? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments.